All right, time for the deep dive. NFL news. A huge injury yesterday. Grasso, the starting center for the Bears, torn ACL. He's out for the season. It was a non-contact drill too, Teddy. Obviously, Cutler's bummed. Big loss for the Bears.
Yeah, and again, when we're talking about injuries, the mainstream media is going to talk about all your running backs that get hurt and all your wide receivers and who's not going to play for 3 downs in a preseason game. What we're going to focus here on Sportsbet is the injuries that actually matter. Offensive lines, defensive lines, cornerbacks, the guys that make a difference, and of course, quarterback battles, which are huge throughout the month of August. So let's start with Grasso. He's a guy with a ton of potential, a guy who Chicago was counting on to be the anchor in the center of their offensive line this year. He's going to be replaced by the veteran Ted Larson as the first string center. But, I mean, look at Cutler's quote. That was a tough one. I played with a lot of guys, and he's one of my favorites, even in a short amount of time. I had a hard time with that one, getting over that. I think guys are still feeling the effects a little bit today. The season-ending injuries, Pauly, in the beginning of training camp, they're game changers for a lot of teams.
Yep.
And Chicago, a squad, there's a ton of potential for Chicago this year. Their defense on paper looks way better. We all know about what John Fox has done in his second year in each of his 2 previous stints at Carolina and at Denver. Offensively, this is a squad, if healthy, they've got talent at receiver, they got talent at running back. Chicago, they've got a schedule, they can make some noise this year, but a key offensive line injury combined with a quarterback that makes mistakes during crunch time, those are a bad combination, and this is a meaningful impact injury for the Chicago Bears, something that's worthy of at least a very modest power rating adjustment for this team.
No doubt about that one. On to the Broncos. Kubiak released the first depth chart of 2016. Sanchez and Simeon are co-number ones. That's Andrew Mason, DenverBroncos.com, reporting that. So, Sanchez has been throwing a ton of interceptions in practice so far. Don't count out Simeon.
I'm not counting out Simeon because I've watched Mark Sanchez play
right.
for the last 5 years.
Yes.
And Sanchez, again, as a rookie, as a second-year player, he got the Jets to the AFC Championship game back-to-back years. But let's be realistic. Not so how much of that was Mark Sanchez and how much of that was the rest of the team around him and circumstances conspiring in his favor. He has not gotten any better since that time. He was he cost Chip, in some ways you could say he could cost Chip Kelly his job last year. And nobody is looking at Mark Sanchez as being the answer in Denver. They're not looking at Simeon as being the answer either. Paxton Lynch is the QB of the future, but he remains the number 3 quarterback right now. He has not been able to compete with Sanchez or Simeon, not picking up the offense, the nuances of the offense quickly enough, which is no surprise coming out of Memphis.
Yep. Yesterday, Hugh Jackson named RG3 the starting quarterback for the Browns. How about this? He is the 25th starting quarterback for the Browns since 1999.
Here's the quote from Hugh Jackson. And again, I'm a big Hugh Jackson fan. This is a bright offensive mind who has designed creative, winning offenses everywhere he's been. Hugh Jackson, quote, "It's time. Robert has earned the right to be named starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. Since he was signed back in March, Robert has made it clear through his actions that he is willing to do everything that has been asked of him to earn this role." Note the Johnny Manziel dig right there. Throughout this process, he has gained the respect from his teammates, the coaching staff, and the entire organization that is necessary for him to lead our offense and really the entire team. Here's the truth about RG3, Pauly. I see potential, I see upside, and with Cleveland lined as the single worst team in the NFL this year, no team with a lower season over-under win total than the Browns, no team with less market respect than the Cleveland Browns here in Las Vegas. If RG3's decent, maybe you make some money betting Cleveland this year. Maybe they go over their number, the total, their win total, and maybe they cash you some underdog tickets. So certainly worth paying attention to a much maligned quarterback on a very bad team that has at least the potential to make better some money.
To the Cowboys, Kellen Moore out 3 to 4 months. They need a backup quarterback. They thought they could get Nick Foles. He goes to Kansas City. Maybe they work out a trade with the Browns and get McCown. In the meantime, it's Showers and Prescott. That's it behind Romo.
Yeah, Then, of course, Jerry Jones. I'm reading these quotes. You got to give the Jerry Jones quotes. They're always good for a laugh. Jones, of course, has been the Cowboys GM for how long? Throughout his tenure, he thinks that he knows more about personnel than anybody else, which is, of course, one of the reasons why Dallas hasn't won a Super Bowl since, not Jimmy Johnson left town. They won the Super Bowl in the first year after he left, but it's been a long time. Jerry Jones, quote, I'm really more encouraged after this about holding our pat hand on a veteran quarterback than before. If we continue to see this kind of improvement and see this kind of instinctive play and really look very comfortable, if we can see this will give us some running room out there. Look, Jamil Showers is not an NFL quarterback yet. I don't know that he will be. Dak Prescott is not an NFL quarterback yet. I'm not sure that he will be. When you have an a team that has Super Bowl aspirations and you have a quarterback like Tony Romo with a recent history of significant injury history and you've been useless without him, you would think maybe you figure out something for a decent veteran in the QB position. Dallas, not so much. It is a red flag, and it's worth noting. Note these two QBs. We're going to talk a lot about preseason betting strategies and philosophies over the course of the next couple of weeks. It's important for Showers and Prescott to get a ton of work and to throw a ton of passes in August. Dallas has been a bet against team at this time of the season in recent years. I'm not convinced that's going to be the case in 2016 because Jason Garrett has to get at least one of these two guys ready to play if he needs them.
All right, one more. The Patriots, they play Thursday. We'll see what Belichick does with Garoppolo, who struggled in practice Friday. He worked with the first team on Monday.
Yeah, and Garoppolo is someone, again, nothing but positive comments, nothing but positive chemistry comments. And all of a sudden, now that he's trying to run the offense for real with the first stringers, we're getting some negatives. He had a bad practice on Friday, as you mentioned. On Monday was the quote I got, he was a bit better, but not as sharp or as crisp as he needs to be. He hasn't seemed quite as comfortable in the scrimmage setting as he is in the practice setting. And offense coordinator Josh McDaniels constantly in his ear, trying to chat him up, maybe calm him down, and get Garoppolo ready to play the first 4 games of the season. Obviously, the Pats are going to need him with Tom Brady's suspension.
Hey guys, for the full video, go to sbrpicks.com.
Research before you bet. Be sure to check out SBR Picks for the best game predictions, breakdowns, and much, much more.